Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you 10 more recommendations that I highly recommend streaming right now. And let's get to the list. What You Wish For is a 2023 horror thriller written and directed by Nicholas Tomney. It stars Nick Stahl, Thompson Topolsky, and Randy Vasquez. A down-on-his-luck chef with gambling problems flees to a Latin American villa where he assumes the identity of another man.
A lot of rich people, they just want an extraordinary experience. Then it gets old.
If you need a sous chef, I'm a good one.
So this is available as a rental at the time of recording this. So it's $6.99 on Prime or YouTube or anywhere really where you can rent a new release. And I don't know when it'll be streaming elsewhere. I'm assuming at some point we'll see it pop up on different platforms, but I do think it's worth the $6.99. Now, I'm not saying this is a home run. I'm not saying this is a game changer or something that's gonna blow your mind, but I was very entertained by this. For one, it's way darker than I expected. It starts off kind of light, and then as it goes into it, it gets more and more dark and uncomfortable, and some stuff happens that I won't give away here that does make this a different type of movie, like I said, than it seems like it's going to be from the jump. So even if you've watched this trailer, I still don't think you'll know exactly what is going on here. But Nick Stahl, I thought was great here. The rest of the cast is just okay, and that's kind of what held this back. I didn't feel like the cast was super strong. Some of them were better than others. There's the detective that I thought did really well, but just some of the acting in general just doesn't quite hit that mark that would have made this a really fantastic movie. There's also a few little potholes and writing issues that I wish were a little bit tighter, but that being said, I'm telling you guys, this is a really entertaining, fun movie. It has a macabre sense of humor, and the whole movie kind of walks this line of being comedic but also gruesome and dark. So I spent the money and I rented it, and I don't regret it at all because I had a good time with this. But I understand times are tight, so if you don't want to rent anything, definitely still keep an eye out for this at some point in the future.
So break in any second. You need to trust me.
Arcadian is a 2024 post-apocalyptic horror movie. Directed by Benjamin Brewer, it stars Nicolas Cage, Sadie Soverall, and Jaden Martell. A father and his twin teenage sons fight to survive in a remote farmhouse at the end of the world.
You're late! Sorry, I lost track of time.
Are we safe?
Yes.
Are we secure?
Yes.
This is another rental for $6.99 as well. I was able to check this out when it was in theaters on a limited release a few months back. I had a great time with it. It's another one that is not a perfect movie, but I think there's a lot here, especially if you're a fan of creature features and apocalyptic world movies, that you could have a good time with. For one, I think the main attraction and the main thing that is worth checking this out is the creatures. Man, they go for it. They are intense, savage, just extremely brutal and surprising. But beyond that, it is a very simple movie. It, in a lot of ways, reminded me of The Quiet Place. So if you enjoyed that type of movie, yeah, I've seen some people say that this rips off The Quiet Place. I don't really think so. I think it just simply is another end of the world movie with creatures. And so of course there's going to be a lot of comparisons. But I thought the story and the characters were unique enough that it stood on its own. But don't go into this looking for a Nicolas Cage movie. I have some other ones of those on here, but Nicolas Cage plays a kind of minor role in this. He's the father of these two sons, and pretty quickly on, they become the focal point of this movie. It is a rental at the moment, but I do think it's going to drop on the Shudder or somewhere fairly soon. So either way, I do think it's definitely one to add to your list.
C'est fini.
Si bien que les
Under Paris is a 2024 French action horror movie. Directed by Xavier Gens, it stars Nassim Lies, Bernice Burgeot, and Léa Laviant. To save Paris from a bloodbath, a grieving scientist is forced to face her tragic past when a giant shark appears in the Seine.
Si nous ne faisons rien, votre opération de com pourrait se transformer en un véritable bain de sang. Ça va être le massacre.
I think this is a perfect summertime blockbuster type of movie. I love shark attack movies when they know what they are, they lean into that, they're self-aware, they don't try to be too serious, they don't try to deal too much with political stuff or whatever, but they just lean into the campy quality and have a good time with it. And this does that as good as anything I've seen in recent memory. To be honest, I enjoyed it more than The Meg. I wish I had seen this one on the big screen because this one has some actual interesting characters. It has some high stakes, things that you haven't seen in the shark attack movie, especially because it's in Paris, it's in France, so it has that kind of different vibe to it from that as well. But the special effects are fine. There are a few that are a little bit cheesy, but for the most part, you got to know what you're getting in for with this. This is not anything to overthink. It's kind of check your brain at the door. The cast do a great job. It's well shot, well produced, well directed. Like I said, it's just a great time. It's streaming right now on Netflix, and there's a dubbed version or a subtitle version, whichever you prefer. So find a comfortable spot on the couch, turn the AC down, grab some popcorn, and have a good time with it.
Guess I'll see you in my dreams.
Dream Scenario is a 2023 black comedy fantasy thriller written and directed by Christopher Borgley. It stars Nicolas Cage, Julian Nicholson, and Dylan Gallulo. An ordinary family man finds his life turned upside down when strangers start to suddenly see him in their dreams. This is your normal A24 movie in a lot of ways. It's creative, it's artistic, it's quirky and offbeat, but also very intelligent and well put together. It gets pretty damn funny, but also very creepy and pretty horror at times as well. And Nicolas Cage just once again shows that not only is he a fantastic leading man, but he is an absolute chameleon and could just become so many different roles. And it's amazing because on this list, I didn't even intend it, and I still ended up with like 3 Nicolas Cage movies. He's just so versatile and in so many well put together projects right now. It's just one of the most impressive things I think that an actor can do. But if you're a fan of A24, imaginative, creative, artistic movies, then you definitely need to see this one. Frogman is a 2023 found footage horror movie written and directed by Anthony Cousins. It stars Nathan Timashek, Benny Barrett, and Chelsea Grant. 3 friends set out to make a documentary about finding the Loveland Frogman, but find out that there is much more than a local legend.
We're actually making a documentary.
Is he an ancient god? Or is he an ancient alien, maybe? Or is he a big frog trying to get his rocks off?
This is one you have to go in with the right expectations, in my opinion, because this is a very low budget found footage movie. It's also a very slow burn, one that kind of evolves as it goes. It feels a lot of ways kind of like the Blair Witch, where things ramp up but very slowly. You need to be patient with it and really just kind of enjoy the cast, because they do a really great job of feeling like actual friends. But this is an interesting found footage movie because it is found footage, but there's also a campy kind of goofy quality to it where it almost feels like one of those monster creature features from the 50s, those sci-fi horror movies from back then, meets modern found footage movie. And I think that's a really interesting way of putting together a found footage movie. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for someone who's a casual found footage fan. But if you're someone like me that digs a lot of the more small budget indie found footage movies, this is one you should definitely give a look because it's unique, it's creative, it does some things different in the space than a lot of the ones we've seen before. So for the right audience, I think you should definitely check it out. It's available streaming over on Screambox right now or available as a rental for a few bucks elsewhere.
Vengeance, I suppose.
So Headhunters is a medieval creature feature fantasy type of horror movie. But everything about this movie feels unique. Everything from the way that it's shot to the way you slowly see the plot being revealed. So it's about a medieval warrior's gruesome collection of severed heads. And his collection is only missing one, the most coveted of all, the head of the monster that killed his daughter. It stars Christopher Reich, who is really the only person on screen for pretty much the entire movie, and he doesn't have much dialogue. He really conveys all his emotions and thoughts and everything through just a lot of real simple actions. But for such a simple movie, I was never bored, not even once. This movie kept me interested and captivated the entire time. What really shines in this movie is the set designs and the props, because there's not a lot of effects, and like I said, there's very little acting going on. So it's really those things that keep you interested, but they do a great job. It just looks great for such a small movie. I really enjoy this movie, and if you've never seen it, I definitely think you should check it out.
What's happening to me?
I just wanted you to be perfect.
Matriarch is a 2022 folk horror movie, written and directed by Ben Steiner. It stars Jemima Rooper, Kate Dickie, and Sarah Paul. Afflicted with a mysterious disease, after surviving a drug overdose, a woman returns to her childhood home to confront her demons, but instead uncovers horrifying secrets.
Everything here is just like old times. You're the first person I've seen who actually looks like they've got any older since I left. Doesn't anyone die around here?
You know me, I love folk horror movies. It's one of my absolute favorite genres. And this is a cool little hidden gem, especially for any fans of folk horror, because you just don't hear anyone talk about this, but it has a really great look, great style. There's some fun mystery to it and layers as you unravel like what exactly is going on here. It's not exactly reinventing the wheel, but it does a great job with this space. It's creepy, unnerving, the set design, the different surprises and twists along the way. I think it's compelling, entertaining, and absolutely worth checking out. And Matriarch is streaming right now over on Hulu.
This is the disaster everyone warns about. A new species set loose in the world.
Splice is a 2009 sci-fi horror movie. Directed by Vincenzo Natali, it stars Adrian Brody, Sarah Pauli, and Delphine Chaniak. Genetic engineers hope to find fame by successfully splicing together the DNA of different animals to create new hybrid animals for medical use.
What was that?
A mistake.
Over the years, this movie's kind of gotten a bad rap because there's one scene in a particular, one direction that it takes with Adrian Brody, and if you know, you know, that made a lot of people uncomfortable and bothered and whatever. But I think that lost in all that shuffle is a pretty damn good sci-fi horror movie. It's creepy, it's unnerving, it takes some really weird sci-fi twist, but it's absolutely not one to overthink. It's a popcorn sci-fi horror movie. I'm a big fan of Adrian Brody, and I enjoy everything he's in. He's great in it, and so is Sarah Pauli. The special effects, some of them aren't the greatest CGI at times, but for the most part, I think this movie still looks pretty damn good. So if you're looking for something to just have a good time with and not overthink, I think this is a great pick. Splice is streaming over on Max, formerly known as HBO Max.
Where
wherever you were, just forget about it.
I can't. There's no one left to finish this but me.
8mm.
8mm is a 1999 crime thriller. Directed by Joel Schumacher, it stars Nicolas Cage, Joaquin Phoenix, and Peter Stormare. A private investigator is hired to discover if a snuff film is authentic or not.
Finding the guys who made this film is going to be very difficult. I need information. I thought you might be able to help.
You name the vice, I name the price.
This gets dark and very seedy. It feels wet and grimy, very dirty and gritty. But it's so well performed on every front. It's well directed, well shot. The writing, the pacing, the cast do an incredible job. It's a very stacked cast with a really young Joaquin Phoenix. But it goes in some really dark, twisted, uncomfortable direction. So this is definitely not gonna be for everyone. But if you're a fan of crime drama like I am and horror, then I think this is a really great mix and one you could really have a good time with. So get on over to Hulu and check out 8mm.
We just came here for some peace.
Unwelcome is a 2023 folk horror movie. Co-written and directed by John Wright, it stars Hannah John Kamen, Douglas Booth, and Cole Meany. A married couple escape their urban nightmare to the tranquility of rural Ireland, only to discover malevolent and murderous goblins living in the woods.
There is one thing I need to show you, and it's a little bit peculiar. Every evening before sunset, she'd leave a blood offering here.
Sorry, did you say blood? For who?
For the red caps.
This movie's wild. It is so bloody and gruesome and violent, but funny, entertaining, adventurous. It's dark and twisted. It's just a great time. It's like such a mashup of all these different things. I knew the premise on its front, it was not going to be anything super serious, but I was surprised at just how hard it goes, how brutal it gets. The red caps in this are not your normal happy-go-lucky elves or leprechauns. Like, they're a very dark, really badass and mean and just ornery little shits. And the things they do in this, the directions that they take it, it's a lot of fun. It goes completely off the rails, especially in the final act, and it's a movie that you're either gonna have a good time with and not overthink, or you're gonna pick it apart and be like, he's, you know, crazy, movie is trash, it's not worth watching, like, whatever. And I get that, but I'm warning you right now, and I'm telling you, this is not for everyone. It's one like I always in my list with, where it's not one to overthink, it's one to just have fun with. Unwelcome is streaming at the time of recording this over on Shudder or A&E Plus. It's also available to be a rental as well. So I think it's a perfect pick for this Saturday night. So do yourself a favor, pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! And I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean so much to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or you can become a channel member and help the channel out that way by going to that button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me talk about 10 more movies that I think you'll enjoy. And I'll see you guys next time.